to the Tourism Minister, Patricia De Lille. She's calling for a greater partnership between government and the private sector to drive growth and recovery in the tourism industry. The Minister was speaking at a tourism leadership conference. It's currently underway at Sun City. She says our tourism sector has shown a strong recovery after the pandemic because we're an attractive destination for both domestic and international travellers.
We've also looked at the spend by international tourists and domestic tourists, and we've seen the spend from international arrivals was 48 billion rand for the period January to June 2023. And this is a notable increase from the foreign arrival spend from January to June 2022, which was 21.5 billion.
Ahmed Kajee is at the tourism conference. He joins us now. Ahmed, good afternoon to you. What was the main message from the Minister at this conference?
Good afternoon. Thanks very much, Stephen. Coming through from the Minister of Tourism, Patricia De Lille, she says many parts of what is going to be their strategy going forward is to ensure that there is more support for many of the tourism companies who are now recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. In terms of the numbers which we have seen coming through over the last few months or so, we have now surpassed the travelling numbers pre-COVID pandemic. So many promising figures at least coming through for the tourism sector. She also says those public and private partnerships need to continue, especially with regards to safety of tourists coming into the country. We had seen unfortunate incidents out in Mpumalanga as well as in Cape Town when it came through to tourists getting affected and perhaps attacked when they had landed in South Africa. She says public-private partnerships to ensure that there are some security apps being formed and developed so that many people can actually report any incidents and just have overall information around safety and security within the country as well. But also speaking towards the tourism sector, we also have the aviation stakeholders being present today. That is a major part of what we normally do see within the tourism and travel sectors within the industry as a whole. And this also allows us to bring into the conversation Ahmed Kajee. He is the Fly Safair CEO and just finished off on a panel discussion just a few moments ago. Alma, thanks very much for your time today. How important is a conference such as this one for the aviation sector?
I think it's great. I'm especially relieved to see so many of the things that we spoke about last year actually being implemented. It's not just talk at the conference, it's actually there's action to the talk. And I'm so happy to see some of the things that we were talking about last year that it's come to fruition, like e-visas for foreigners visiting the country. The security app that you spoke about that the private sector launched in collaboration with TBCSA is fantastic. I think that will go a long way to make foreign tourists feel safer in the country when they visit us.
Your regional routes will be opening over the next 6 weeks or so into other parts of the continent. Having those visa-free programs in place, how do you think that will allow you to actually increase the market for those who actually want to fly back into South Africa using Fly Safair?
I think it just makes it easier and more convenient, right? So like if you're a tourist and you're deciding where you want to go, it's just always you go to the place that's the easiest and the most accessible for you. So I think it will play a huge role, and like you mentioned, we're starting to fly to Maputo, Harare, Big Falls pretty soon. So we think it will go a long way to help us in that regard.
And then just speaking towards Fly Safair's growth over the next few months and over the next few years, heading into Friday's or tomorrow's Rugby World Cup, we're also seeing that contract being extended with the Springboks. That also must be something away from the conference that you must be very excited about.
Yeah, we're very proud to extend again for 5 years with the Springboks. In fact, we launched a special livery to mark the occasion. But in terms of our recovery, the South African aviation market was in a bit of turmoil the last 3 years. So we've seen a lot of changes in the market. And last year it was marked by very high ticket prices. Ticket prices have come down drastically. It's in fact 15% lower than last year. And that's despite the fact that most of the costs that the airlines are experiencing have gone up. You know, fuel prices have gone up, The exchange rate's got a big impact on us in terms of the cost of our aeroplanes, the components and the maintenance. So I think at this stage the aviation market is actually pretty healthy. We all look forward to a busy leisure season coming up. You know, normally people start traveling more now from September up to December. So we're all hoping that that will also boost the tourism sector with the additional demand that we'll see over that period.
And then just finally, for the consumers who will be flying during this holiday season, what can they expect in terms of airfares to and from the locations that you will be flying to?
So, like we always say to people, the earlier you book, the cheaper the tickets will be that you pay for. I think ticket prices will be lower than last year, but it's always, especially over December, you should expect that ticket prices will be higher than normal, but it will be lower than last year. So the earlier you book, the better.
Ahmed Kajee, thanks very much for your time. Greatly appreciate it. So there you have it, Stephen. Just some updates coming through from the Tourism Business Leadership Conference. It will be wrapping up tomorrow afternoon. Stephen.
Ahmed Kajee, thank you very much indeed, live from that conference at Sun City this afternoon. Well,